Chicago has been so resistant to environmental changes or environmental justice. I've been doing this work in August to be 40 years. And I am so happy to see all y'all in this room today. And I'm so glad to have city government sitting at the table and I ain't got to cuss you out and fight you and tell y'all poison in our community. Unfortunately, poor communities has been targeted to bear those burdens. And we all supposed to have a responsibility in the management of whatever the waste we created, but the industry, we should not allow them to work in our community for the purpose of their bottom line. We're not against business. We want business to operate in the safest way as possible to protect public health.
The Hazel Johnson Cumulative Impact Ordinance really embodies co-governance. It's really one of the first of its kind, honestly, where we have purposely, intentionally worked with residents, community folks, advocates who experience the issue firsthand, who live in neighborhoods, right, that are experiencing this and asking them, what should we be doing? And listening from that as well. I've been with the city now for 5 years and I've been working on this ordinance pretty much for almost that entire time. We've gotten to a point where we introduced it last week in city council. Yes, really, really excited. In numbers, we've definitely, created greater power. We've been able to advocate for people in the city that in the past did not get listened to at all. This impacts them and it impacts all of us, honestly.
US EPA is working on getting the funding to continue that sampling, but they did share the results of the first phase with us, and not surprisingly, the results show exceedance in every harmful toxin thus far, most predominantly lead, manganese, and chromium. Alongside that, very importantly, we've been socializing and engaging the Superfund site process with residents, because the cleanup that takes place is dependent on what the end use is. And unless community is demanding a fabulous end use like recreation or housing or something of the sort, something that's different from the industrial status quo, they're going to do the bare minimum. If there's not enough uproar for something different, they'll just cap the site essentially, and it'll just be home to likely another industry. That's really what we're working on in the community level, is just encouraging people to dream big and really demand what they want to see happen there, because it's so critical in this process.
In building relationship with community, we first get to know them, have an understanding of where the various gaps exist, and from there we start to do education, right, to inform people of, hey, this really shouldn't be this way. Do you know in other places they actually do have all of the things that they need? These issues of health that you're dealing with are not normal. We all have a sense of responsibility in this work. In North Lawndale, where we started, there's also a lot of issues with the air quality, with the water quality. We know about Ogdale Gardens and their environmental issues, but Lawndale and that area also had to deal with the Civil Shovel Project. Many of you may be familiar with that. What we're seeing today, what they're doing on the southeast side, is really, unfortunately, history repeating itself. And so I would agree that we have to have governmental entities at the table to say, we're going to put forth legislation to say we're no longer going to allow these things to occur, because then it will eventually be another side of the city, another side of the town.
If you thought this film was interesting to you and you want others to also watch it, it actually is streaming for free on WTTW's websites. Part of the reasons I made the film is that, the stories are so contained on the southeast side, and the rest of Chicago knows so little about it. So I'm relying on you to help spread the word. Thank you.